Alrighty, first grade. So this paper is going to be for phonics, page 137 to 138. If you don't have that paper, go ahead and pull it out in front of you. I'm going to explain exactly what to do on this worksheet. So if you have your worksheet, this is going to be a lot easier to understand. So for this first section, if you read it, it says to read the sentence and circle the correct word. Now, if you look at these green things right here, that's my trying to draw the paper. Obviously, I'm not good at drawing. It's okay to laugh at them. They're awful. But I did my best. So, the first picture that we see here, we're going to look at this ribbon thing, and it's going to ask you what this is. On the bottom, you have your options. Is it a sledge? Is it a badge? Or is it a stage? Your job is to figure out if it's a sledge, badge, or stage. A badge is another name for a ribbon, which is what this is. So that tells you your answer is going to be it's a badge. Okay? You then move on to the second thing. You can see here exactly what this is, but this can even be confusing because your options are pledge, sledge, or fledge. Okay? So we understand this is the flag, but flag is not one of the options. So what do we do with the flag? What do we say? If you remember, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. So this would be pledge. Okay? Now, these other two things, number 3 and number 4, I am not going to tell you the answer for those. You should be able to know what those are. So we are then going to move on to section number 2, where it says to write the opposite. These are not all of your own words that's on your paper. This is only a few of them. Okay? All of you know these. Okay? The opposite of hot is cold. Work, play. We know this because if we're not doing schoolwork, we're playing at recess. Thin, if something is not thin, which means narrow, small, it's thick, which means it's a little bit wider. Okay? If something is not thin, it is thick. Dark, if you don't want it to be dark in your room, the opposite of dark, you guys know, is light. If you don't want to run at recess, you walk. Okay? If something needs to be found, okay? If something is found, the opposite of found, as you guys know, is lost. And then you can figure out sour and the opposite of outside on your own. Okay, most of you know this. Going on to section number 3. This tells us, it's asking us to do something we did on our last paper, which is changing the Y to an I and then adding the suffix. Okay, so tiny, we're going to add the suffix ER, which says Remember, you're crossing out the Y, adding an I, and then adding ER. So tiny becomes tinier. Okay, breezy, cross out the Y, add an I, and then add ER. So breezy-er. You're adding the suffix. Okay, you cannot forget to add the suffix. For the EST, if you remember, says est. Adding cozy to make it coziest, you cross out the Y, add an I, and add EST. So cozy becomes cozy-est. Because don't forget to add the suffix, and don't forget to change the Y to an I. Coziest. For happy, it's the same exact thing. Change the Y to an I, and you cannot forget to add the suffix. So happy becomes happy est, because the suffix was there and the I has been changed place with the Y. Each of you know how to do this, okay? So that's on the back where it says to change the Y to an I and adding a suffix. Right underneath that where it says to circle the special sounds and mark your vowels, all of you need to do that as well. All you're doing is circling all of your special sounds and marking your vowels. Remember that if your vowels are within the special sound, you do not need to mark those because they're a special sound. But if the vowels are by themselves, please mark those. If you have any questions, don't forget, you or your parents can call or can text me if you have any questions at all. Okay? Don't forget that. Good luck.